Welcome to podcast 17.2 of the discussions of your last three brain cells. We just recorded. We just recorded
3.14159265358979322.
We get it. It's Pi Day.
Yeah, it's March 14th, Pi Day, yeah. But this is also the second time recording this exact podcast because we just recorded 12 minutes and then realized that my microphone was not on. Well, I had the wrong microphone selected, so we continue here.
With cherry pie.
Oh, you
Cherry pie you're gonna eat on the podcast.
fuck.
ASMR, like a monster.
This was the worst, easiest cherry pie I've ever made. Like, it doesn't taste bad. We went to the store, bought 2 frozen pie crusts already in pans, and just dumped cherry filling in it.
Monster. Did you even put a top on it?
The other pie crust.
Jesus.
Monsters.
A real split second
Absolute
decision.
monsters.
I kind of want to go buy Thai now. God damn it.
'Tis the day.
I already...
So, we were talking before we recorded the first bit that we are going to attempt to do the St. Gerbert's Day episode, and we're going to lean into the drunken mess that it is hopefully going to become.
Oh, there's no hope.
So we're going to try and do... Oh, it's going to be. But we're going to try and do a power hour, which for you uninitiated nerds is the idea that you take a drink every minute for an hour. So some people do a shot of beer, some people just do a drink of beer, whatever. But that's the timing on it is every minute you take a drink.
Yeah, if you don't know what a power
And
hour
then-
was, where were you between 2010 and 2014?
Right. Because that's exactly when we were all drinking, was 2010 when I was 12.
I mean, that's
That's
about
what we were up to.
it's about whenever most people I knew started drinking. It's 14, 15.
So we're gonna record that in 6 days on Saturday night, and we're gonna attempt to get the significant others on, but we shall see. We shall see if they want to partake in the depravity.
Should we make it our first video episode? Do we want video evidence of this?
I don't know if we want video evidence of that. Maybe episode 19 can be the video evidence episode.
And the day right after, should we have the Power Hour episode and the aftermath?
We could do that. I feel like we'd be fine. We're adults.
I mean, that's,
That would be funny though if we did the
it
aftermath.
depends on how much you stretch that word adult.
This is true.
Am I like?
We also decided we're going to partake in a short series where we focus on our professionalism as young men and young adults. Is the interview series. So I've explained this about 9 times because I've been workshopping it. So a lot of people recognize it because I talk a lot, and this is an idea I'm excited about. So we would each pick a job that we are going to interview in the near or foreseeable future. And then the other 2 guys prep 10 questions or so and interview the third guy.
Petroleum engineer.
So you'll...
Emperor
Right, so we would
penguin
ask-
fighter.
So we would find 2 jobs, or find 10 questions to ask you. We'd ask you that question. You'd give us your interview response. And then we would say, and then you'd reflect on why you gave that response. And then we would be able to give you advice on what was good, what was bad about it. And then we kind of do that. So it'd be a 3-episode series where we each pick a job
A jab.
and move from there.
Jack
Jab.
Ripper impersonator.
You already got the
Is that where you
mustache.
bought is that where you bought the kilt?
I mean, like,
Now-
the facial hair works, but kilt, nah.
Now we just need to find the prostitutes.
Sorry.
So
I've
we
seen a
got
lot
stuff
of,
in the works.
I've seen a lot of Jack Ripper related things lately, so that's
I thought you were going to see prostitutes.
Don't talk about my second job like that.
You mean OnlyFans?
It's the oldest job around.
Second oldest.
What's the first?
What's the oldest?
Well, you
one?
gotta have a fucking. Yeah, well, yeah, but you also have to have a commodity to trade in order to exchange sex for that commodity. So-
Hunter.
A hunter or gatherer. Yeah.
Eh.
I give
Maybe
you
they
shelter. You give me baby machine.
Oh,
Ah,
it's been a while since I've partaken in a power hour. It's gonna be a hoot.
yeah. I mean, I've done it, but not as under the notion of a power hour. I just call it Friday night.
Right, that's just the pacing.
Yeah.
But they like make videos on YouTube where it's like an hour and it's like 2000s hits and then it's like a minute of a song and every time the song switches,
No, those are pretty cool.
you drink. Yeah.
It's been a while.
I feel like we can't do that because we'll get copyright striked. But
Well, I mean, we
Yes.
can just have one on in the background. We don't have to.
this is true.
We don't have to record it.
This is true.
Can we go back to the conversation we were having before about the Jazzercise thing? Like,
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. Have
Yeah,
you
yeah.
seen that, Max?
No.
Let me pull it up. I'll show it off.
Yeah, it's
Marcus,
great.
explain what it is quick.
So it's like a rubber piece or something stupid like that. You put it in your mouth and you just kind of
Oh.
bite down on it, and it's supposed to tone your jawline and shred it.
You can go to Walmart and
Because-
buy a can of racquetballs for $6 and do the same goddamn thing.
I mean, we have some
mean you-
bagels that are.
You've
old
never chewed on a
and, like,
racquetball as a kid?
No.
I highly suggest it. If you're very,
Did you
very,
also-
very bored, your jaw will be sore for days. Though, like it is the worst feeling.
Did you also eat lead paint chips too?
I don't remember.
Grow up
yeah,
under some
probably
power
did.
lines.
We all grew up under power lines.
So like, okay, so it's pretty much just a racquetball.
Yeah.
Is
No,
it
I know what
actually?
you're talking about now. Can we? So, you guys have seen Running Man, right?
Yeah.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger.
hmm
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Really?
It
You
was
need to
on
watch
Netflix.
it.
It might
You
be
will
on Netflix
fucking
still.
love it. It is. Even if it's not, you should buy it. It's fantastic. But
Running Man.
yeah, it's one of those dystopian ones. It's really good. A lot of like the Hunger Games type movies took a lot of cues from it. But
We should watch the Pumping Iron and like do a live like reaction commentary to it.
Iron Hans needs fans, and we are here to pump you up. But no, there's in the Running Man, there's like Jesse Ventura workout video because he's like a big
Is there?
superstar. Yes, it is fantastic. Look it up. Like, pull that shit up right now and let's fucking watch it because it is fantastic.
I'm gonna pull it
We
up on
need
my
to do one of the fucking the jaw ball things. No, that just sounds bad. But do a Jesse Ventura workout video with one of those.
phone. What? Jesse Ventura.
Captain Freedom's workout commercial.
Captain Freedom's workout commercial. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
So I found there's a commercial and a workout. Let's start with the commercial.
I can wait a sec.
So can you guys see like what I'm sharing?
Yeah,
Not yet.
and I have audio.
It just says watch stream. Also, apparently Jesse Ventura was on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah.
With a skullet.
Dude, he was the governor of Minnesota.
I know.
Like, non-sarcastically. Have you seen his like governor like picture?
No.
So if you go to the State House or the Capitol building, all of the governors have like a portrait, and like that's the thing is they all get a portrait. So each and every one of them have this kind of standard portrait, and then Jesse Ventura is like, you know, like the apocalyptic like George Washington riding a velociraptor, drinking a beer, shooting a
Yeah.
like an AR, like those. That's what it is.
Oh,
but
damn.
it's like non-sarcastically up.
Well, you know, back in the day before he went crazy, like he was actually a badass.
Yeah.
He was a UDT diver, which I don't know if you know what those are. But the UDTs were the Navy underwater demolition teams, and they were the precursor to the Navy SEALs.
Yeah, he was like legit a badass.
No,
but
he
he's
actually
also
was, like-
crazy.
Yeah. Oh, completely fucking insane.
Like, look at this.
That's pretty cool.
Hold on.
Oh, bye, Keegan. Oh, you're back.
So
It just flashed.
what's he gonna say? I like how in Predator he calls.
But yeah, that's
Oh, go on.
his actual photo. Like they're all the other ones are really standard. Of course, that's his.
I mean, that's what you have to do. You can't sit there and have this like normal 24 by 36 inch portrait painting. That's no fun.
No. You can't go from being in the Predator to being the governor and not have a little bit of fun with it.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, chewing tobacco turns you into a sexual tyrannosaurus or something like that. I love that line.
Ugh.
Craziness. Are you guys gonna watch Halfthor and Eddie Hall's boxing match?
Yes.
Apparently it's a set of 3.
It's a fucking grudge match too.
Do they actually not like each other? Or
I
do
don't
they
know.
have, like friendly competition.
So, I think it's a little of both, but they're definitely both peeved at each other because like there's a lot of drama here going back to World's Strongest Man 2019. Whenever maybe it was 2018. I think it was 2018 because I think it was when Eddie Hall won. Because I think that's where this came about. Halfthor felt he should have won. Or no, Eddie won. Halfthor felt he should have won. Eddie is taking the trophy home, gets on the fucking 12-hour flight home, gets off the flight, finds out he's no longer the winner and Halfthor won.
Oh,
Why?
Yeah,
Good.
I don't know. There's a bunch of drama around it, and like they were like separated by like 1 point, and they went back and like reviewed stuff after the contest, and like we're saying like Eddie shouldn't have been allowed this rep, and the only reason he got this rep was because he was like friends with the judges or something. Yeah, a lot of what it comes down to is Halfthor is an egotistical child, but
I wouldn't say he's a child though. He's a big feller.
I mean
yeah.
Lenny just wanted to tend the rabbits, but he just kept killing them because he had the mind of a child. Because he was too big.
I'm not seeing. I'm looking at the 2018 results. I'm not seeing it.
Hold on. I'll find it for you.
I wonder if it was the 2019. But they might actually not like each other because I know like Eddie Hall and Brian Shaw and Nick Best and all those guys are friends because they were on that show.
Oh, yeah. No, apparently he's a huge cunt. Halfthor is.
Both in his ways and in his physical stature.
Yes. Here. You don't have time to watch this now, but there, I sent some in the general, and it's... Oh, it's
Martin's-
2017.
It was 2017.
Yeah. So
So that's some deep beef.
Yeah.
It's on the way back.
Yeah, no shit. But I highly advise giving that a watch it if you get a chance, and we'll give some fucking backstory to all of this. And
Yeah.
it's interesting. So anyway, what have you guys been up to?
I started watching John Adams, based off of a David McCullough, whatever book. I like
There you
it.
go.
Yeah, it's fun. The theme song is really catchy.
Do you know what it is?
The John Adams theme song. I don't know, perhaps something like that. Look it up. I don't know. It's
Something
kind of catchy.
specific.
But he's in like France right now, or he might be in the Netherlands. Very nice interior decorating. Let's just say that.
I'm listening to it. It is catchy.
Mm-hmm.
What's catchy?
The John Adams theme song, the
Oh.
HBO miniseries.
We
I was listening to
go ahead.
The Phantom Tollbooth, which you guys are supposed to be reading.
And I'm not.
It's such you guys the PDF. It's like literally, like we listened to it for an hour today, and we're like a third of the way through.
Okay.
I think it's an hour and a half, and we're like probably third to a half of the way through.
Yeah, I just need to do it.
Just gotta do it. Just gotta
Do
read
it.
that kid's book.
Yeah.
I was looking at it and thinking about getting a tattoo of some of the characters because it's a book that I've always really enjoyed. Like I read it for the first time in like the 6th or 7th grade,
Oh.
and I've probably read that book 10 times. And it's got a lot of really cool illustrations. It's got a cool art style.
I'm thinking of getting a Punisher skull with crossed rifles underneath.
Where are you getting that?
Face.
Where are
And
you
then
getting that?
over top in a tab is "Follow Me."
That's
big-
the most.
Just be a big back piece over like a subdued American flag.
No, it's got to be you punching Xi Jinping in the face.
Yeah, but that won't be topical in 30 years. This will
we make
last.
you an
I'll
action
definitely
figure?
want this.
We make you an
And
action
for
figure.
forever. But
I still have to decide on what's going on my arm. I'm like a month out. I don't know.
How about hair? So you stop shaving your fucking arms.
I only shave the one now. Okay, just I gave up on the other one. And I'm trying to think of something for like a back piece, but like I don't know. I can't decide. It's gonna be something like.
You should do
I don't know.
like Merlin fighting the dragons.
No.
Why?
I have
It's
enough fan-
no, it's him fighting. It's him. The story of Merlin watching
I
the
don't-
white and red dragon hatch
I
from
don't-
eggs, and then they hatch and fight to the death. And I think the white one survives, and it's supposed to be like symbolizing. I forget who it is, but like someone, and they're like the rise power of England over Wales.
I don't.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was gonna say like apparently, like our theory and legends and stuff like that are tied to like Welsh folklore mythology, and I was just like, oh, what I could like maybe I don't know. I don't know.
There's a kid's book
There's
I used
also-
to have.
in a completely unrelated note, there are people that have been flying their flags upside down, like since the election. But
Oh my
but
god!
that's like dialing 911 in flag speak. It's like I drive on my way to work. I drive by a guy that has a flag, and he's got the upside down American flag, and he's got a Marine flag, and then he's got the "Don't Tread on Me" flag.
No,
But the American flag's always upside down. Right.
No,
Don't step on snake.
those are different ones because you have the little tiny snake, and that's actually the flag of the U.S. Navy.
Oh,
But,
speaking
yeah.
of which, I came close to buying like a
The Navy?
no, like an English naval flag or whatever. But I'm like, not yet.
That would still be a flag.
Yeah, I know.
And God hates flags.
Ha 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 ha.
3! Ah! The amount of Count Chocula tried to lick his way to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
It'll take forever.
Really.
21,379.
They built the machine that like counted it, and they averaged out like so they actually got a good number.
Why? What?
It's like 326.
Science, dude. That was, what was it? Rand Paul. Every year for Festivus, he airs his grievances in the form of dumb things that get money from the government that he argues shouldn't get money from the government.
Most things.
But it's not like he's a doctor. He's like a medical doctor, so he understands like, oh, we're doing cancer research. Like, oh, that matters. That should get funding. But it's always stuff like geckos on treadmills and stuff.
Building a $20 billion hydroelectric dam in Afghanistan that never got finished.
Right.
Can you
Actually, no.
like
No.
But it's even dumber than that.
I
It's,
think
like,
it got
actively
finished and then
dumb
they just
stuff.
never ran power lines anywhere for it.
It never.
you think it was finished?
See if I can find
Not
something.
got finished.
I think it was finished. You know what?
Is-
Suck my illiterate cock.
Gladly.
So his top 10 grievances included, and this is for this year's grievances, $1.5 million to the National Science Foundation devoted to research that involved walking lizards on a treadmill. $20 million spent to renovate an airport taxiway over Nantucket that was most often used by private jets. And with some of the funds coming from coronavirus aid, relief and economic security, and the CARES Act, over $10 million in federal emergency management, FEMA designated for buying test tubes, only to receive mini soda bottles instead, and about $2 million to the National Institutes of Health provided for research into whether hot tubbing is able to reduce stress.
Okay,
Speaking of
so-
stupid things
And he just did that like all day.
that we need to record podcasts on, we need to find the I forget what the actual designation is, but there's an investigator general report into financial spending in Afghanistan up until like 2016.
Oh yeah.
And there, like, I remember hearing some other people like talk about a little bit of the shit in it from a couple years ago. There is some major bullshit in there, and we need to do that at some point.
I would love to.
Also, on a side note, can you imagine how bad it would be if Count Chocula was counting your pause squats? Down.
One.
Two. 3. Up.
Is it on Iraq? Specifically on Iraq? What's the inspector?
There is a report specifically on Afghanistan. I'll see if I can find it.
Do it.
Can you imagine how excited you would be if you filed for that like gecko funding? Because you're just like, oh man, I'm just gonna type
And you
up a little
actually
report.
got it?
And you got it. And you're like, what the hell is this? What am I supposed to do now? Like,
Like, I actually got money for it.
you're sitting there like, what do I do with myself now? I didn't think I was gonna get this.
I didn't think I was going to get this far. Well, what do we do next? We buy some lizards and some treadmills. I don't know. We wrote it. We got to do what it says.
How do we collect data now? What is our goal?
Buy some video cameras. We buy some treadmills, and we find some lizards, and we get after it.
Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Recovery or Reconstruction.
How long is the actual report?
I will find it because that is the title.
Again.
Audits
excited.
and inspections.
Did I bring up the 5-hour Jacko podcast?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
When we recorded this? I'm still in awe at that. Like, I can't imagine recording for 5 hours. Like, I really like you guys, but 5 hours is a long time.
Well, we're not
That's
as
way too
beautiful
fucking long.
as Tulsi Gabbard is, so that's one thing.
Yeah, I feel like that would help.
She's
Like doing it with new people every week. Like if every single podcast you did was with a genuinely new but hyper interesting person, I feel like you could talk for 3 hours.
yeah.
But when you do it the same group every time, I feel like that hour window is probably about right.
Yeah.
I'll look into this because there's like an overall report that they did a couple years ago. I don't know where to find it. I'll have to actually look into it a little bit.
You should see if you could like print it out
No,
like at work in your job.
that would take so much paper.
Is it done long?
Yeah.
I bet it is. I got posted an interesting question about you, Max. Why did you do Army instead of like Marines?
Faster promotions, better pay, more chance for schools, and
Fair enough.
more and a higher possibility of deployment. Marines
funding as
are and better funding. Marines are very, very, very rigid in the way they do a lot of things, and they're not necessarily better for it. They're very, very disciplined, but that ends up to being really stupid. They don't promote very quickly. You're not necessarily going to be promoted for actually being good at your job. You're going to get promoted according to a timeline when the Marines decide they want to promote you. You don't get the opportunity to go to many schools because the Marines just don't have schools. They just don't. They don't. Most of the schools the Marines send you to are going to be Army or Navy schools, so why not just fucking cut the middleman and go to the Army where they want to send you to schools because they view you going to school as actually you going there to learn something that you can bring back to your unit to make you better and help you train your unit more. What's the other thing? Army receives a lot more funding than the Marine Corps. Like a fun statistic is in that first year of SEAL Team 6, the SEAL Team 6 his ammunition budget was as much as the entire United States Marine Corps was. And SEAL Team 6 had like 150 people on it versus the entire United States Marine Corps, and this was in 1982. Yeah, 82. There's just
Shit.
a much bigger budget and ability to go do stuff in the Army.
And then you still drive a truck from 1984, and then your coworkers got it stuck.
Yes, they got a striker stuck, which is pretty impressive.
I wonder
was
what the
fun.
reaction was driving that. Oh shit!
I can see it in your face that you're like,
They just have the pedal down to the ground, and why aren't we moving? What the hell?
Yeah.
we suddenly stopped progressing.
That's right.
It's the Russians, they've hacked us.
It's the Chinese. Come on now.
Yeah, the hacked vehicle is so old it almost doesn't have electronics in it.
Right. It's a crank start. It's like, you have to go through a special course so it doesn't break your arm.
We have strikers that are older than the people driving them.
Damn.
There's that massive budget you were talking about.
Yeah, all our strikers are old second bat strikers from the Joint Base Lewis McChord whenever they were actually new.
When they were.
In 2008 for the most part, 2007. Yeah, I don't know. Strikers suck.
Don't you guys have to like finagle them in and out of the garage too? Because it's icy and they're shit on the ice?
Well, yeah, but that's just living in Alaska. I have to do that with my like personal truck whenever I get home from work every day. But
That's fair.
yeah, there's a big.
How's that Ranger been treating you? Did you
Oh,
guys
it's
get a full Ranger?
fantastic. Bitch hasn't let me down yet.
Nice.
Well, it's been a
Fucking
month,
Danger Ranger.
so
Yeah. No, it's pretty solid though. I'm not gonna put
How many miles are on it?
160,000.
It's not bad.
No. It's really not for a truck from 2001.
oh,
Fuck
that's
no.
pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah. No, and it's actually in pretty decent shape. Like, there's no rust. Like, there's no body rust or structural rust. I'm probably gonna have to put a new muffler on it sometime this summer. Luckily, Alaska
So-
doesn't care, so I
I
can
have a
just completely
question.
take the muffler off if I want.
Does Alaska use salt on
No.
the roads?
It's too cold.
Oh, Okay.
So they're like, why would we salt the roads? Because then we salt it, it melts, and then it just refreezes as solid ice.
Mm.
Good for your vehicles then.
That's honestly pretty funny, but it makes sense.
Yeah. No, it's... They actually don't do much. Like, they plow, and they plow a lot and do a lot of snow removal. But they'll drop, like, gravel on the roads, essentially. And that's about it.
Okay.
It's really
I suppose
shitty.
it's like fighting the tide. You can't really win. You can only make it manageable.
They did a hard pack cleanup on the roads 3 days ago, or last week sometime. Then it snowed 4 inches.
Such a suck, nerd.
And it's just like, whatever. Cool.
That's how it is.
Yeah. Place sucks. Looking forward to summer, though.
It's been,
Started,
it's gonna be beautiful up there.
started picking up some more lures. Supposed to be some good trout fishing up here. Like every pond is stocked. So I'm just
That's
picking
nice.
up a lot of Panther Martins. Just
Hanging
different
out.
colors.
Marcus, we gotta plan a visit up.
Yeah. I'm saving up some vacation for something this summer. So, what is it? Oh, my woman's got an internship at Noah's Ark, and she's getting 14 day passes. So I'll be going there quite a bit.
I mean, is she like interning to be one of the people that lets people go down the slides?
No, it's like from like
Study.
a business or like marketing aspect. It's not like an actual like
No.
employee telling, yeah, go swimming,
Not
go.
on the ground.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
In the business half.
hmm
Just
So I'm excited.
That's one
for
thing
her.
I've kind of. That'll be really fun.
Yeah.
I've kind of realized things like there's an economy of just about everything, and it's all kind of the same. It's just learning the lingo. So like, there's an economy for shoes. There's an economy for cheese. There's an economy for Bitcoin, and it's once you learn how to read the numbers for one, it really translates to a lot.
well, and you know what? You know what really sucks?
Vacuum cleaners.
What's the thing you like doing the most, work-wise, that you want to do the most?
Like just in a general sense.
Yeah, just in general. It's not that important. Like, what skill? Like, what skill are you trying to go and do?
Oh, like lab work and
Yeah,
quantifying and
At-
specifics.
at some level, no matter what job you work or where you do it, you stop doing that job and your job starts to become management and paperwork.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't matter what job you do. You can be good at fucking anything. You can be the best construction worker in the world, but eventually you're going to get pushed to a spot where you don't do construction work, where you're responsible for managing people, and your job becomes managing people,
Paperwork.
doing paperwork. And
I talked
Every
to
business in the world.
I talked to a warrant officer when I was in Oshkosh a couple of years ago for their like air show thing or whatever, and he worked. He was working. He worked his way up to a major, and then he's just like, yeah. And then I had to do a lot more paperwork, and I didn't like that. So he's just like, I took a $25,000 pay cut and moved to warrant officer 1. And I'm like, oh, okay, good for you. Now he's warrant officer 2. I don't
mean-
know how it worked out like that, but yeah.
So there's a really interesting history in the Army, actually, of that issue specifically. And you can definitely say this for pretty much any like high skill based job profession, like scientists and engineers and construction workers and plumbers and electricians. Is there are those people who are incredibly fucking amazing at what they do, have absolutely no desire to go into management and deal with managing people or doing paperwork, but eventually are forced to just because that's life most of the times. You're good at what you do. Most of the times you're going to get selected, promoted over peers because they think, well, you can do that job, so you're obviously going to be good enough at doing this job, which is not always the case. Now, this is a massive issue in the Army because pretty much no matter what you do, all paths lead to leadership. You are going to be, like, that is everything in the army. You are supposed to be in charge of people. You were supposed to be leading people whenever you get to a certain point. And that's not super ideal. So back in the day, I think it was right around the early days of World War I. I think it was like 38 or 39. The Army started to actually introduce the specialist rank. And the specialist originally wasn't a standalone rank as it is today, because it's an E4 in the Army, which is just a specialist. It's just a rank. Back in the day, it used to mean you were actually a specialist in something, and it was an additional rank identifier added onto your existing rank. You'd be a technical specialist, and you could be different levels. It could be, I think they had everything up to like a technical sergeant major. I don't think it was sergeant major, but up to like
Master sergeant. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And you could be like, you could have your regular rank be fucking a sergeant, and then be a technical master sergeant, essentially. And it was a really good way to keep people in by giving people these promotions for technical expertise on knowledge without giving them the increased responsibilities of leadership, and also getting them to not be a private, so they're not just getting dicked on all the time for being like having just a little fucking single chevron and rocker, being a PFC, and just saying, hey, what's up to sergeant major, and then getting fucking screamed at because, well, they think they're a 3. But that unfortunately went away in like the late 70s and got condensed to the single little specialist rank that we have today. And the only thing that remains somewhat similar now is the warrant officer ranks, which are essentially there to be technical experts in whatever their MOS is, which is often aviation or artillery or engineering or maintenance of some kind. And they're not in a leadership position. They're there specifically for technical expertise in a topic. And there's a lot of people, myself included, who think that something along the lines of that system needs to be brought back, because we are losing a lot of people out of the Army who are incredibly good at what they do, who should stay around and keep teaching what they do, but should not be responsible for the actual day-to-day leading of these soldiers' lives. They should be kept around to be subject matter experts on the training, on the information being covered, because that's just as important as the actual like leading of these troops. But
You were running into that in medicine as well, like medical doctors. Like you go through 4 years of like your undergrad and you're top tier, and you're like, I'm gonna go do stuff on a day-to-day basis, and you're prepped. You're like, you're gonna be performing, like you're gonna be nonstop doing stuff, and you're like, great. And then you get into your med school, and you're like, you're nonstop doing stuff, and you're gonna be doing all this awesome stuff, learn this stuff, super high performing people, awesome, great. You get out of that, you do your 2 years of residency, great. You get out and you're a fellow, and your first couple of years you're still kind of in training, and when you transition to being an actual doctor, it takes like 2/3 of your time is not doing stuff, but it's documenting what you did.
yeah,
And so we're hitting like these massive amounts of burnout for these medical doctors, because they're not trained to fill out paperwork. That's not what they want to do. They want to help people.
Yep.
And the paperwork just kills it.
I think that's probably, like, I don't know specifically if it's happening with, like, police forces and stuff like that, but, like, I would imagine that's how it is with, like, police work, too, because every time you do anything, you have to file a report. And when I was interested in that, one of my, like, classmates from high school, his dad was a sheriff or whatever, and said, yeah, be prepared to do a lot of paperwork, because that's mostly what your job is.
And some of them are harder than others. Like, I'm sure in the medical industry you can find a workaround for paperwork, and there's definitely got to be a way to cut back on the amount of paperwork they're filing. But the police stuff,
It becomes a lot of...
the police work, it gets hard because you need that firsthand experience, or that firsthand report from that officer in order to accurately represent, or in order to accurately document what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with like the medical stuff, there's probably a lot of it that can be relegated or delegated to others besides that specific doctor.
The problem is it needs to be signed off by the doctor.
Yeah.
And so what they end up doing is it becomes a lot of like lingo jargon to condense it as much as you can and to be as specific as you can. And then it becomes a lot of like voice to text stuff. But it's still time consuming and it's still like, what did I just do? And they have to recount everything they just did for the last hour.
Yeah.
And it's a bitch.
Let's just video record everything.
Why not? At this point,
Yeah. That's an interesting
we
problem.
have the technology.
That I think we're going to face more and more as the world goes forward is because we have had a freeing up of like space and storage. Essentially, we have limitless storage for documents and paperwork. We have come to rely so much on documenting every single thing because we are such a litigious society, that you keep everything just for that off chance you are going to have to face litigation at some point, and you'd be like, well, no, because this, and this, and this, and this filed on these days, stating these things, and all that shit. That every single job out there now deals with just an absolute asinine amount of paperwork.
That's in one of my grad courses. We literally had we have an entire section, and we're still in it, talking about the importance of not only creating a quality product, but creating a system that records the quality product. That things are being checked in this way, and this is why they're being checked in this way. And then it's a series of paperwork that's ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
So every single day, like, there's somebody's job is to check one thing and initial a piece of paper, put it back in, and slide it down to the next person.
Yep.
That's their whole job.
It's an interesting issue.
Mm-hmm. But it becomes, with at least biotech, it's like, this is going on somebody's body.
Yeah.
If this is fucked up, they're just going to die. And then nobody here has a job. So by having that, it protects everybody involved. It protects the consumer, protects the producer, it protects all of the regulatory agencies.
But that's also not necessarily the issue that we're trying
Right,
to...
that's just a separate example. That's an example of where it's probably a good thing.
Yeah. Oh, for sure it's a good thing. And that's just normal scientific process stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's just like...
Or at least scientific production style.
Yeah, like, that's quality control. That's just recording results and shit. Like, that's pretty normal.
I will say one thing about it. It's not interesting. Learning about it, phenomenally
You
boring.
mean learning about someone taking notes on something is boring?
Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Like, yeah, not great. Marcus, so are you officially a graduate of Walmart Academy? Do you have more classes? Are you just like a freshman?
it's
Or are
like-
you a sophomore?
It's
you get a
like a
diploma?
continuous education thing. No, I don't get anything.
Should we throw you a grad
So I have
party?
to go. Yes, please.
We should throw you a grad party.
So, like, I have to go back at some point for a whole week and contemplate life. So, yeah. But, yeah.
So if COVID wasn't around, would they actually send you somewhere?
No, because our place is an academy store. So, like, we have academy people who teach us, like, who are, like, based in the store. And then they, like, prepare presentations and stuff like that. And then,
So like a little classroom built into the store?
yeah, but, like, they do, like, webinars, basically. So,
Oh.
excuse me. Yeah.
How hard would it be to get like us into there? Like, could we like just observe the Walmart Academy as
I don't know.
interested citizens? Would we have to like?
I don't know how you probably could. You'd probably have to talk to the store manager, and then
That might be fun.
she'd have to probably go to somewhere else.
Podcast live on location.
We're just we're citizen journalists. We want to learn about the Walmart Academy.
And then you sit there with my mask on.
We can't
in
wear
the
any
room by
red
myself.
because they think
You have to sit there with your mask on in a room by yourself.
hmm
Is there at any point you're just like, fuck the system and just stop wearing it?
I mean, I'm by myself in the inner CO a lot, so like I don't have it on then, or like I should say I have it pulled down because I'm by myself. So. That's about it. I mean, like maybe my coach will come in there, so, or another team lead. So, meh.
Okay.
I like being in there. I'm not being hounded after by other employees. I can actually get stuff done. So it's nice to
Ugh.
listen to some podcasts while I'm doing the paperwork.
Yay, paperwork.
And I just have my service desk people like tell people where to go. So it's nice.
That's fun.
Hmm.
This has been a really entertaining podcast.
Yeah.
We could revisit a classic from before that I don't remember if we revisited or not, but I have a new question for you. So at my work, we're kind of in between projects right now, so we're finagling hours to try and make sure that everyone's good. And it raised my question again of how many hours should a person be working? So in a non-project based environment, like a quota based environment, like an office, and with all this paperwork and shit, if I just hammer down and could get everything I need to do done today in 3 hours, but I have an 8 hour day scheduled, should I have to stay the full day to get paid, or should I, in theory, be able to work if I'm twice as efficient as I need to be? Could I get away with working a 20-hour week?
No. So I don't think you necessarily have to work a full 40. But I do think that the way most jobs are, pretty much all jobs that aren't specific project-based contracting jobs, where you're not developing a product, you have a finished product. If it's a job where you're going to come back in every week and it's going to be working the same job, doing not the same thing, but roughly the same thing every week.
Classic stereotypical desk job.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. You're never going to be done with work because you never know when something else is going to come up. Because you got to remember, the reason a lot of people are paid to be at their desk for 8 hours a day is because the people paying them need to have access to them for 8 hours a day. It's not just that. So if we're going off of a stereotypical desk job now, like
As a straw man to throw darts at.
yeah, they're not there to accomplish a task and go home. They're there to help out the person that is paying them to perform that job. Like
so
if
like a call
you're,
center.
yeah, if you're, so it's not the best example, but a call center is going to have a constant flow of volume. It's a call center is more like working in a factory than it is like working in a normal thing. Like a factory can almost always find work for you to do. Almost always.
There's always something. It's always something.
If you're not making something, you should probably be cleaning something.
Or fixing something.
Exactly. There's always maintenance. But if you have like, let's take like The Office, the show The Office. There's a pretty good spectrum of just standard desk jobs there. Now, Michael absolutely wouldn't be able to go home because one, there's always something he can work on. But barring that, saying he can get everything done in the day, he needs to be there in case problems arise from his salespeople. Because he doesn't know that, hey, maybe Jim's going to work until fucking 5:30 today, and then Jim gets a fucking call from their biggest client, and it's not, and they're like, well, cool, fuck you, I don't want this anymore. And now it's, instead of being Jim's problem, it becomes Michael's problem because the branch is going to lose 5% of their total volume of sales if Michael doesn't pick up the phone. Assuming 5:30 is within like standard working time. Say they work like 9:30 to 5:30. Other people, like, there are jobs within there where you might be able to go home earlier. Say the salespeople. But a lot of the other people are there specifically to answer questions. To be contacted, to be reachable. And that's what a lot of hourly jobs are. Salary jobs are a bit different. They're definitely viewed wrong in that you shouldn't be accessible all hours of the day. Or if you are, you should be paid more. But there's still a standard amount of shit you have to accomplish. I'm really sidetracked. I'm talking to myself in a circle.
It makes sense. From what? So yeah. So what you're saying is salary is there. Okay. So what you're saying is like if your salary, you're pretty much there to ensure that the project gets done, and then if you're not required, in the ideal world, you could leave. Or are you saying salaries there no matter like just to like be there just in case if something comes up?
So it's a little both, right?
Okay.
Typically, jobs that are salaried are jobs that are project based, like long term project based, not like contracting where, okay, well, you want this wall put up, I'll have it done in a month and a half or 2 months or whatever, or you want a house built up. Oh, excuse me. But they're things like sales, or office work like accounting and reception stuff, where you're going to be working kind of standard-ish hours, but you're still going to be working project to project, probably receiving maybe looking at bonuses for certain types of projects, but you're going to have a standardized work that keeps going forward. So you need to be there to work on those projects and get that shit done. Then, on top of that, because you're so close to those projects, you need to be available to call and talk to and work on those projects because those are your projects. You're the technical expert. This is not the appropriate time for this question.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Do we want to pick the jobs we want to do interview for, or do we want to just put that on the back burner until we...
I'm putting mine on the back burner. There's absolutely no way. Like, I have no fucking idea. Because I have 3.5 years left before I even start thinking about applying for a job. And then that's still probably not
it could be your
happen.
next step. It could be your next step up in your
I mean, but
Army career.
do you guys want to watch me take a PT
Yeah.
test?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
I
funny.
mean, I've seen you.
Tackle you the whole time.
I've seen you perform exercises before. So why
Do you not interview for those then? Is that
No.
just kind of like a...
Well, I mean,
You don't interview at all?
you go to the board.
Interview for like.
So there's, whenever you're making the actual step from junior enlisted to NCO, you do have to go before a board. But the board is basically what is the muzzle velocity of an M4? What is the NCO's
Oh,
creed?
it's like trivia questions.
Yeah, it's a fucking high school trivia essentially, and you have to stand there at position of attention and repeat everything back perfectly, and it's just super gay. That's not an actual interview based in like selecting on merits and stuff. But
Do you
most of the
think
times-
that's-
go ahead.
Oh, do you think that's done just as like a time saver because it'd be really easy just to ask them a bunch of stupid questions compared to like actually getting down into a real interview about something? Or like, what would you say?
I think it's a formality, because I think that I think the people at the board already know whether or not they're going to promote you before you get there because they have been talking to your actual first line supervisors and the people that are actually directly responsible for managing you from day to day. So they know the kind of person you are before you get there. And then your reflection of how you do at the board is more or less your ability to work hard at accomplishing a single task.
Even if that task is a dumb task.
Yeah, which is a lot of stuff in the Army. Like, this is the same thing with the last PT test. Like, no, it's not the greatest indicator of physical activity in the world, but it is a really good indicator of how disciplined you are at working hard at something.
I think that's a good way of explaining it. Especially like if you have room to improve for like improvement too, or just like I mean like it doesn't matter even if you don't need improvement, just staying vigilant. So yeah, I'm gonna shut up now.
That's about where I'm
Oh,
at.
yeah. Well, we'll give you a little bit to think, and it does like, it's not necessarily doesn't have to be super on the nose. It could just be a general interview questions.
Yeah. Cool. I'll figure out
But
something.
we'll think about it.
I mean, I could probably tell you right now, but it doesn't matter.
We don't want to make Max feel bad.
Okay.
/ feel worse than he already feels.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna go eat some cheese.
Ah,
I'm sad and I'm from Wisconsin, so I'm gonna go cry into this block of cheese.
Yeah, we bought like $40 in different kinds of cheeses yesterday, and it was pretty good.
Vic was
Nice.
really happy. It looked like.
Yes, she was. It was a little wild.
Got crazy tonight. We bought a bunch of cheese.
Hey,
We bought a
so,
bunch of
I have a
cheese and
question.
some kielbasa from a pig that was killed like Wednesday.
Okay,
Shit.
so I have a question. Where is the cheese from originally? Is it,
I don't
local
know,
cheese or
'cause
is it? No.
It's shipped by Kroger. So it's from all over. I think, because it was a brie, but it was I don't remember the actual name of it, but it was a little bit creamier than normal brie. I think it was might have been French. But they had cheese from all over. They even had some Wisconsin cheese.
Is brie kind of crumbly? Would you say?
Oh,
No,
Brie's creamy.
Creamy?
brie is really creamy.
What's crumbly? Like what's a crumbly cheese?
Feta?
Blue
But,
cheese?
yeah, blue cheese. Fuck blue cheese. Disgusting.
What the fuck what just happened? Do you not remember?
And with that, we're
Confused.
gonna go ahead and end the podcast. This has been My Last Three Brain Cells, episode 17. Make sure you unsubscribe, and leave a nasty comment on someone else's page.
Hey, comment your favorite cheese.
And please comment your favorite cheese. If we get enough comments, we will all go out and buy all the cheeses and try them live on air.
And we're gonna make Marcus eat an entire pound of blue cheese.
An entire
Thanks, everybody. Have a
pound.
good night.